everyone. Today I want to share with you a book review, and I'm going to talk about this book, Paint, Play, Explore by Missigman. I hope I didn't butcher her name, sorry if I did. I've been following Ray for a really long time. She has, I don't know if her YouTube channel has been active, but I know she had this really great series of art journaling in, was it 5 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that? That was a really good one. And I'm really happy for her that she came out with this beautiful book. I love her work. Her color palette is very similar to mine. That's always something that really draws me in, the colors that artists use. So I really wanted to pick up this book and support her, of course, and I'm going to review it here. I have looked through it and it's beautiful, but I kind of want to dive in a bit deeper and give you a review that will really help you decide if this is something you want to add to your collection. And two things. One, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. These things really help YouTube and the algorithms and all those things. And also this scarf that I'm wearing, a little bit of shameless self-promotion. So this is actually my art printed on a scarf, and it is beautiful. If you like these like large flowy scarves, which I can only wear indoors right now because it's freezing cold outside. I'll put a picture here of how this looks when it's open. If you're interested, you can find the link below along with other stuff with my art printed on them. And yeah, so you can get this for yourself. It has like a rainbow on it and I just absolutely love it. So it's really nice quality. I always order these things for myself so I can see the quality before I can, you know, recommend them. And this is beautiful. Even though I'm wearing the same clothes, it has been several days since I recorded the first part, and for the name of continuation, I wore the same stuff. Anyway, so I have gone through a lot of this book. Obviously, I didn't do all the tutorials, but I did a few, and I took a selection of things that were more at the start of the book and then others that were a little bit towards the middle, so I guess probably a little bit more complicated, not really. And the votes are in. So I created a few categories of rating for this book just as a way for me to kind of go through everything. And the first category is eye candy. And I will give this book 5 out of 5 on the eye candy category. It's beautiful to look through. Beautiful photos, really well made. I love books that are kind of heavy on the pretty images because I'm superficial like that. I just find it very pleasant and inspirational. So yes, 5 out of 5. Next category is the Fomo Factor. FOMO is fear of missing out and, you know, just wanting to have all the good stuff that other people have. So usually these books have a supplies section, and sometimes you go through it and, you know, you want to go shopping instead of actually diving into the book. And I found with this book in particular, I mean, it's true, I have a crazy amount of art supplies that will probably last me a lifetime if I don't ever buy a single paint ever again. But I think for other people, if you have kind of basic supplies, if you have colors that you like in different mediums, so different acrylic paints that you like and then different watercolors that you like, I think when you go to this book, you might want to pick up a few things, but it's not like crazy overwhelming, like, oh, so many supplies, I can't really go on reading or doing the exercises if I don't have all these things. So I think it's okay. It's safe to get this book without worrying that it's gonna cost you a lot more in supplies. She does go through what she uses. It's a mixed media book, so I think when you go into mixed media as opposed to painting with acrylics or painting with watercolors, you naturally end up with more supplies. And of course you can be more minimalistic, but you know, if you want a nice selection of watercolors, if you want a few acrylic paints, if you want a few pens, a few pencils, a few markers, it kind of adds up. So by nature, I would say mixed media just needs more supplies, but yeah, it's okay. It's not too crazy, it's not too long, it's very to the point, and you know, it is necessary to have these chapters in books to show you what the person that wrote the book enjoys using and also recommends for certain purposes. So yeah. The next category is what I call intimidation / motivation. So some books, you know, you go through them and the artwork is so beautiful and it's intimidating. You're like, I could never make anything like this, so, you know, why even bother? And of course it is important to remember, you know, none of these people who became known and make this beautiful art, they didn't just decide one day, oh, I want to make pretty art, and it just happened. They have been painting and working for decades. So always remember that. But also with this book, I really found it a lot more motivating. The artwork is beautiful, but I felt like I can do it, you know, it's not too intimidating. So I give it a high score on the motivation, and it's not a very intimidating book. Like for me, I'll give you an example. For me, for example, the Jean Haynes books or the Jane Davenport books are a lot more intimidating. And yeah, but I think also it's also important to remember that this book really focuses on mark making, and I think by nature, I don't want to say that you don't need skill, that she's not skilled, like not at all. That is totally not my point. But you know, to make like a lot of the techniques that she goes through, like mark making, you don't need a high level of skill. I definitely think that to put everything together and to make something that is interesting and beautiful to look at, that definitely requires skills. But to make like little X signs or little triangles, I think anyone can do it. So it really helps making this book very accessible and also easy to follow and suitable for beginners. I would definitely say that this is a great book to pick up if you're starting with art journaling. I feel it's very accessible because, you know, it doesn't focus on something hard like painting faces or something like that. It really can help you kind of get going with creating pieces that are fun to make, beautiful to look at, kind of detailed and interesting, but not so like you don't need years to build that skill. That's my personal impression. Of course, I am not an absolute beginner myself, so you know, I don't want anyone out there who's just starting out to feel disappointed by what I'm saying if they pick up this book. But I definitely think it's suitable for all levels of art journalists, journalers, how do you say that? And yeah, also if you're a beginner, I would definitely recommend this if you're interested in this type of thing, like the mark making thing aspect, which I am. I love adding that type of detail to my art journal pages, whether they have like a more, I don't know, classical focal point like a face or something, or if they're just, you know, shapes and colors and more abstract. So yeah, that's me. There are tutorials in this book. There are a lot of, most of it is like step-by-step tutorials. You know, some books go more into the like state of mind or I don't know, just I guess the psychology behind creating and all that stuff, which is important. But this book is, most of it is step-by-step tutorials. I think they are very easy to understand. I would say one thing, if for me, it really worked in this book, but if you are an absolute beginner, you might find a few of the products that she uses kind of unfamiliar. For example, I did one with masking fluid, and I love using masking fluid. I have used it many times in the past. I feel comfortable with it, even though I used it here in a way that is a little bit different for me. I also used it with paint, acrylic paint, and I wasn't sure how that is going to work till now. I've only used it with watercolors. So, and there's not a lot of explanation about, you know, for example, masking fluid. So I would say if you're not familiar with everything that she uses, you might need to like go online or read a little bit. But for me, I was happy with it because I don't need right now those extra explanations. But yeah, that's something that I noticed that other people might find a little bit challenging. I don't think it's a big issue. I found the step-by-step tutorials easy to follow and also fun to make. And I'll show you some clips from what I created. I was very pleased with the results, and I really felt that brings me to my next point, which is the frustration slash satisfaction with the results. And I definitely felt satisfied, so I give this a high score. I didn't feel frustrated that, you know, this really wasn't working for me. I felt like I could go back, you know, through the book, like going back to the more basic examples, for example, for different mark making, different marks, when I wasn't really sure what I should do, because you know, when you learn kind of a new skill or something, it doesn't come naturally to you. So you need to have some sort of guidelines, I feel, or some sort of reference. And I did go back like to the first pages of the book and got ideas, and then moved on to the tutorials. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I found it very inspiring, easy to follow. I was satisfied with the results, beautiful to look at. I give this a 5 out of 5 rating, and I highly recommend it to anyone who thinks this will, you know, help them or inspire them. So I hope you find this helpful. I will link you to this book so you can pick it up for yourself. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.